Yo guys, what is going on? It's Curtis here, also known as the True Jack, back again with a brand new video on this channel. And as the new season is coming up, I'm going to be giving my table predictions for the 2021-22 season. So yeah, this will be a very interesting season once again in Championship. Championship, very unpredictable league, like I said. And it'll be interesting to see who goes up, who goes down, and who goes in the playoffs. So before we start this video, make sure you subscribe if you're new and like. So yeah, let's crack on with it. So in 24th spot, which is last place, I have gone with Derby County. Derby County, who escaped relegation on the skin of their teeth. They are in a dark place at the minute. Only like 8 or 9 senior players in their squad, including 2 goalkeepers. They're in a little bit of crisis. Although they've got good players on trial. They've got Jack Wilshere on trial. They've got Tom Carroll on trial. Things could still change, but because they have a really weak squad, Wayne Rooney is their manager. Obviously, he did lead them to safety, but he's very inexperienced. And to be honest with you, I think they could potentially finish high at the bottom, but I see them getting relegated this season. They're in a very bad situation. I'm going to back them to be relegated. In 23rd place, I've gone with Blackpool. Reason why is that up top, they have got Jerry Yates. Jerry Yates had a quality season for them last season in League One, but with their attacking wise, I don't think they'll be consistent enough because 13 more teams in League One scored more goals than them. But on the positive side, they've conceded the fewest goals in League One last season, so they were really good defensively. In the attacking midfield bit, I think they might need a bit more strengthen. Jerry Yates is a big season for him. Obviously, I think he'll be their main danger man for Blackpool this season. Pretty much defensively, if you were to be in a relegation scrap, it'd be better to defend instead of running out for attacking. But to be honest with you, with Blackpool, they could potentially strengthen towards the deadline day on the attacking side, but on the defensive side, they're really good. But because of the lack of attacking from them, and the fact that they conceded 13. That they conceded less goals than 13 other teams in League One last season, I think, despite the defence, it wouldn't be enough for them to stay up. In 22nd spot, I've gone with Peterborough. Reason being is that defensively, they've conceded 46 goals, and if they keep conceding a lot of goals, like 2 or 3 games per game, then it can be a bit of an issue for them. But at the same time, they've scored 80 plus goals in League One. Obviously, they were the runners-up. And Jonson Clarke-Harris, the top goal scorer in League One. Obviously, his goals could potentially help stay up. They've got some other good attackers as well. And they could be a side that could prove me wrong on getting relegated. They could potentially stay up because they're really good attacking. But we're defensive. Unlike Blackpool, obviously they conceded a lot more goals than them. And that could be a bit of an issue. So they might need to bolster up defence. But unattacking, they look good to go. Jonson Clarke-Harris, I think he'll have a good season in Championship. But I don't think his goals will be enough to keep them up. Because looking at defence, I think that'll be the side that will let them down. And I think Peterborough will probably be facing relegation this season. In 21st spot, just to escape the relegation from the skin of their teeth, I have gone with Huddersfield Town, who conceded the most goals in the league last season. With their defence, they have improved on depth, but not sure about quality, although they have added more additions in defence. They've also signed the likes of Jordan Rhodes as well in their attack. And has the squad improved or not? Well, depth-wise, I'd probably say yes, but quality, I'm not so sure. But I mean, with their defence options, they needed that defensive options. But Carlos Corabin, the Huddersfield manager, he needs to get this absolutely spot on this season if they are to survive. I think with the current squad they've got, not sure about quality, but I think they might just about do enough for survival. 20th spot, I've gone with the League One champions Hull City. Despite they're under a bit of an embargo, they have had additions where they've got free agents, loans as well. I mean, they've added a few additions to their squad, which is good for them. But obviously, they were really impressive in League One last season. Obviously, the likes of Keane Lewis-Potter and Malik Wilkes, they proper impressed Hull City in League One last season. They got a big season ahead for them in the Championship. But the striking option, which is obviously Tommy's and Josh McGuinness, I'm not sure how would they prove themselves in the Championship. Obviously, Tommy and Josh McGuinness, they did all right last time in the Championship, but obviously since the winter transfer window in 2020, when Kamil Krasicki and Jared Bowen left, they proper went downhill proper downhill, finish bottom of the league. But with their impressive League One last season, will they bring it to the Championship and just about survive? Maybe, maybe not, but I think they will do enough for survival because of their impressive League One season. So in 19th spot, I've gone with Coventry City. Now, Coventry City, because of their loans, the likes of Matthew James and that, going back to their parent clubs, they have weakened a little bit, and they might need to strengthen in a few positions. Although they have signed the likes of Martin Waghorn, who was at Derby County last season. He's been at Derby County the last couple of years, but other than that, he's a decent player in my opinion, decent signing for them. Although he didn't have much of a good season at Derby County last season, he was a hero when Derby escaped relegation to skin their teeth. I think he's still a player around his name, and I think he might do some damage for Coventry. Although, like I said, with the positions-wise, it has weakened a little bit, and I think they'll probably finish in that small position. In 18th, I have gone with Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers, now the current situation with Adam Armstrong, he is a top quality striker. Premier League clubs, they have been interested in him before, they're not interested in him yet. I don't know what's going on with the saga. Obviously, Blackburn Rovers, Bradley Dack is out for the first 3 games, he's a big player for them. They lost a few experienced players and the squad's gone thin a little bit. So, they hardly made any sense. I don't think they've made any, I'm not so sure, but their squad is really thin right now. Blackburn Rovers, they really need to make some signings for this upcoming season now, which starts shortly. And yeah, so I'm a little bit worried about Blackburn. They might finish lower, but although with the squad, they got a similar squad to like Hull and Coventry and that, but I think despite the squad being quite thin, if they manage to keep Adam Armstrong, then they'll probably finish in that position where predicted. But they also have Ben Brereton Diaz. Well, it was Brereton, but it's now Brereton Diaz, as he is now Chilean. Yes, he has a Chilean mother. He is Ben Brereton Diaz. I think he'll have a good season with them. He scored a couple of goals for Chile. I think he scored 1 in Copa America. And if Adam Armstrong does leave, then Ben Brereton Diaz will have a big season for Blackburn Rovers. Although, despite the squad being quite thin and not really convincing, I think they will do enough for survival. 17th spot, I have gone with Bristol City. Now, Bristol City, a lot of names left last season due to expiry of their contracts, which is a big blow for them, really, just regarding their squad depth. Not much additions have been made, and further up the field, like attacking, they'll probably struggle because with regarding shots and creativity, they might struggle a little bit. Although they have a prolific striker, Naki Wells, who is really experienced, and because they had a lot of injuries last season, when will these players come back? I think their players should be back at one point this season. I think they'll probably be back for the start of the season, but yeah, regarding not doing much business and a lot of bodies left due to expiry of contracts, they probably will finish mid-table again. 16th spot, I've gone with Preston North End. Now, Preston North End, they have good wingers on backup. Obviously, they've got the experienced Scott Sinclair, but with Ched Evans up top, I mean, he's had a decent season with Preston North End since he came in, but I think another striker is needed from them, I'd say, if they are to get more goals to their name in their team. Obviously, I'm not saying that Ched Evans is not good enough, I'm just saying they just need backup on striking options, and regarding their team, I don't see them getting much goals to their name, but I think they're an average championship team, and I think 16th spots, like their usual mid-table players, not saying they finish 16th all the time, but I think mid-table, obviously, Preston are mid-table sides, they got some good winger options, but with the signings they made, and fans are not really that optimistic where they'd finish, but I think they'll be finishing mid-table and 16th spot. So in 15th spot, I've gone with Birmingham City. Now, Birmingham City, I like the business they've done in this transfer window. They've got some good additions to their squads. Obviously, in the last season, as you saw, Aitor Karanka, he made a few good additions to his team, but it went downhill a little bit. I thought Birmingham would finish higher than they finished last season. Although Lee Bowyer did come in and do a decent job for them. Obviously, he kept them up. And I think with the additions to the squad, they'll probably finish higher than they did last season. Birmingham City, they have struggled in the last couple of seasons, although they've had good additions. I don't want to go too optimistic on where they finish, but I like the business they've done, and I think a solid 15th place would be where Birmingham City will finish. 14th spot, I have gone with Nottingham Forest. Now, Nottingham Forest, it's Chris Hughton's first full season in charge. Obviously, there'll be a tough side to face against, really, but on their attacking, they were really lacking last season. Only 37 goals were scored, which is a bit of a worry. Their strikers were up on their own last season, not much supporting was there. Although Brennan Johnson, they've got back after a loan spell at Lincoln last season. He was a really good player for Lincoln, and he's a bit of a loss for him. He did very well in League One. I think he could prove himself in the Championship this season with Nottingham Forest. I think he'll be a big name for them for this upcoming season. But I think because of the amount of business they've done on attacking wise, I think a similar season will be heading for them this season. I mean, Chris Hughton, he's a good manager. He could potentially develop them, but because of what was happening last season after their lack of attacking, I think something similar will happen again this season, to be honest with you. In 13th spot, I've gone with Reading, who are currently under a transfer embargo. Obviously, Reading, they've played some nice football. Paunovic transformed the players. They played some lovely football last season. They finished 7th, just about missing out on the playoffs. But towards the end of the season, they only had one win in the last 11, which is a real bad record for Reading. Yeah, terrible ending for the season for Reading, really. But because they lost the likes of Michael Elise and Omar Richards, they can't really replace them due to a transfer embargo, so they're probably going to drop off a bit. But I still think there's a little bit of quality in the team because of Paunovic's style of play, but they'll probably drop off due to embargo and their record towards the end of the season. So yeah, unlike them mixing the top 6, I think they'll probably finish lower. 12th place, which is right in the middle of the table, I've gone with Barnsley. Now, Barnsley, they were in the top 6 last season. They were the main surprise package. And Valérien Ismaël has obviously gone to West Brom Albion. Obviously, the captain, Alex Moat, has followed him there. So yeah, a couple of big losses. Also, Daryl Dike has gone back to Orlando. Obviously, Daryl Dike, who's really prolific. He's a massive loss for Barnsley. Of course, he was on loan. He was a good loan deal as well from the MLS. He's doing all right in Orlando now. Although they've still got the likes of Coley Woodrow, Callum Styles. They've got some good players in their team. They've made a couple of signings as well. But Marcus Schopp is their new coach. Well, regarding their quality and that, I don't think Marcus Schopp will turn into like a Valérien Ismaël straight away. But Valérien Ismaël did a quality job with Barnsley. He's gone to West Brom Albion now. And I think with this Barnsley squad, I think they're a good group of young players. They are going to keep improving now and again. They could potentially finish top 6 again. They could be in that top half sort of position. It could be another surprise package. But I think under a new coach and losing a couple of key players, I think slap bang in the middle table would be their position. In 11th spot, I've gone with Cardiff City. Reason being is because the style of play is not really that impressive. I mean, Mick McCarthy had a really good start to his reign as Cardiff City manager, including a 6-game winning streak. But with wins, now and again they tend to just grind for the results, even though the other team's been all over them. So yeah, Cardiff City are one of these teams where they grind out one of these results. They've got a good squad though. They've got the Kiefer Moore, James Collins. Obviously, James Collins they brought in to back him up. They've also got good defenders as well. I mean, they're really good defensively. They're really good at scoring from set pieces. The squad has not improved, but I mean, the depth has improved, but not the starting 11 in general. Reason why I put them 11th is because of their style of play. In 10th spot, I've gone with Swansea City, the team who I support. Reason being, I know we had back-to-back seasons in the playoffs, but reason being is that our squad depth has weakened. We have not got a good squad depth. We really need to make some more signs. We've only made 3 signs so far. We've got signed Joe Perreault, Carl Joseph and Liam Walsh. And we have not really replaced RU properly, obviously. I mean, we need another centre-back. We need another midfielder. We need, I'd say, probably another winger. And, well, potentially goalkeeper, potentially another striker. We need to make some more signs, but we've now appointed Russell Martin, who plays some nice football, attractive football. Obviously, Steve Cooper, despite he led us to the playoffs twice, his football was not really that promising now and again. But I think the current squad we got is concerning. We've got a lack of squad depth, and I don't see us getting top 6 this season. Although I think, due to Russell Martin's style of play, we'll do enough for a top 10 finish. We just need to make some signings. In 9th spot, I've gone with a surprise package team, sort of. I've gone with Luton Town. Reason being is because of the recruitment they've done. They've done some good business this summer as well. They made lots of additions to the team, despite losing James Collins to Cardiff. They made a lot of signings to their team. I think they'll be a surprise package because they've improved under Nathan Jones, who did very decent last season, I thought. And a top 10 finish would be good for Luton Town this season. Obviously, due to their business and recruitment, their progression under Nathan Jones, I think they're going to keep improving and they'll get a top 10 finish. In 8th place, I've gone with Millwall. I've gone with Millwall on that because they've got a good looking defence, good looking midfield, and all they're missing is a natural striker. Obviously very similar to what we had last season. So they're in a similar situation to us last season, and I think Millwall, they'll probably have a good season this season because Guy Roach is a good manager on paper. Despite losing Ryan Woods, they brought in George Saville as well, who's a decent signing, and they've also brought in Benik Afobe. Benik Afobe is probably the man who is missing for Millwall, that sort of player. Jed Wallace is also a good winger for them as well. It's their goals were the main issue for them last season, I'd say, but I think they got a good enough squad. They got good enough squad depth for a top 10 finish, and I think this season I see them doing decent, and they could potentially mix in the top 6. I only think that because Guy Roach, decent manager, and also they got good squad depth. In 7th place, I've gone with Stoke City. Stoke City, they've done some decent business. They signed Mario Vrancic on the free transfer from Norwich. He's a good addition to the team, and he can play alongside Nick Powell as well. That's a very good looking central midfield. They've also signed Ben Wilmot as well, the former Swansea and Watford centre back. He's a good replacement for the departing Collins. And also Tyrese Campbell is set to come back from injury as well, which is really good for Stoke. He's pretty much their best player, and he is a prolific striker. Plus with Stoke City, Michael O'Neill is a really good manager, and if Stoke City don't finish in the top 10 this season, then serious questions will be asked. In the last 3 years down the Championship, they finished in the bottom half. In the first season down there, I thought they'd be walking this league. I thought they would be winning the league, but no, we were all proven wrong. I think this time they will get a top 10 finish because they made some nice signings and their main strikers coming back from injury. I think I fancy them to be in the top 6 mix. In 6th spot, I've gone with Middlesbrough, all because of Neil Warnock's experience and the team he's building. So Middlesbrough are building a really nice team. Obviously, they've got a few additions to their team. They got 2 good fullbacks. They've replaced Marcus Bettinelli, who did not have a good save percentage, with Joe Lumley. Joe Lumley he's not like a beast keeper, but I mean he's all right. But I think Middlesbrough, regarding the team they're building, the players they're linked with, I think they'll be a good team this season. Maybe a few additions maybe needed on like the wing or so, but they signed Uche Ikpeazu from Wycombe Wanderers, who is a good Neil Warnock type striker, I think. And due to Warnock's experience and the business they're doing, I think Middlesbrough will be a very good side this season. I think they'll do enough for a top 6 finish. So in 5th spot, I have gone with, due to the recruitment from this summer, Queen's Park Rangers. Queen's Park Rangers, unlike recent years where they've been struggling, I think they're going to have a really good season this upcoming, because at the end of last season, in the last 14 games, they won 9 of them. And that form is terrific. I think Mark Warburton has transformed them into the perfect system. They got good striking options, Lyndon Dykes and Charlie Austin. Midfield looks good, like Sir Stefan Johansson as well. They've also got Ilias Chair. Rob Dickey had a good season as well at Queen's Park Rangers, and I think he'll be very good this season again as well. And this QPR team looks really exciting. So yeah, I think with QPR this season, because of the current recruitment and the squad they got, the players they got, I actually think a top 6 finish will be for them this season. In 4th place, I have gone with Sheffield United. Reason why is because their business has been really slow, and there's a few uncertainty from players whether they're leaving or not. Like, for example, we've got Aaron Ramsdale, who's linked with a move to Arsenal for like £40 million, which is ridiculous money, and they need to get in the replacements quick because their recruitment and business has been really slow so far. Although they got Musette, McBurney and Brewster. Obviously McBurney and Brewster, who used to play for us in the Championship, they were really good players, and they are capable of doing so this season. I mean, they got relegated in the Premier League. They still got some other players who can be very capable of doing well in the Championship. Like Slavisa Jankanovic is a top manager as well. He's good at promotion, and he's good at promoting teams and that as well. And I think Sheffield United might be in for a decent season, but all depends on what happens to different players and what they do in the transfer window. So yeah, not much movement happens with Sheffield United in the transfer window, and I'm putting them 4th place. In 3rd place, I've gone with West Bromwich Albion. Now, West Bromwich Albion, in recent news, Matías Pereira looks to be leaving. We don't know where, but I know he could stay, he could go, but he wants to leave. Apparently, it's looking more likely that he's going to leave, but Matías Pereira will be a big loss for him if he does go. Although they have appointed a new manager, obviously, like I said earlier, Valérien Ismail, the former Barnsley manager. Alex Mowat followed him there. They got Matt Clark to bolster defensive, and also they got a good front three though. They got Carl Grant, Grady Diangana, and Callum Robinson. That is a really, really good front three that is capable of doing damage in the Championship. I mean, with Mowat in midfield as well, we've got Jake Livermore as well. And will West Brom be looking to replace Matías Pereira? Probably would be, but Valérien Ismail, obviously he played hoofball, I think, at Barnsley. He had like an over 50 win percent, which was really good. I think he was Barnsley's best manager, but now when he's taking over West Brom, it'll be interesting to see what he does with them. And yeah, I think West Brom will have a decent season under Valérien Ismail, and they are capable of finishing top 2, but I was thinking, because Valérien Ismail plays hoofball majority of the time, will it not be enough for a top 2? I mean, maybe, but maybe not. I don't think it will, but I think they will finish 3rd spot. So in 2nd place, which is automatic promotion place, I've gone with Bournemouth. The reason why I've gone with Bournemouth to finish 2nd is because they've appointed Scott Parker, who's a really good manager, plays some nice football. Obviously, he guided Fulham promotion back to the Premier League. Although they didn't have Begovic and Golo, and Dan Juma will probably go, but if they manage to keep him, then that would be really good for Bournemouth. Obviously, if David Brooks stays injury-free, then he'll be a quality player for them for this upcoming season. I mean, Bournemouth, they've got a quality squad, though, on paper. They played some nice football. I mean, they got a couple of additions. They signed Marcondes from Brentford, the attacking midfielder, scored a 2nd goal against us in the playoff final. But, I mean, with Bournemouth looking at their current squads, I think they will do enough for a top 2 finish, and especially the manager they've got as well. I think Scott Parker will guide Bournemouth to promotion. Well, also it depends regardless if they keep Dan Juma or not. I mean, if they keep Dan Juma, then I think they will get top 2, but I mean, there could be a few question marks. Anything can happen in the transfer window, but due to Scott Parker being a good manager who likes to play some nice football and the quality of the Bournemouth squad, I think they will do enough for a top 2 finish. Right, finally now, top spot of the Championship table prediction. Getting promoted alongside Bournemouth and winning the league. It is a very familiar prediction. I did it in the 1920 season, but they went up through the playoffs. Fulham. Yes, I am backing Fulham to win the league once again while they're down in the Championship, because majority of players have stayed. I don't think they've lost anyone. They still got Mitrovic. They signed Harry Wilson for 12 million as well. They signed Paolo Ganzinga, the Spurs goalkeeper, and I think more additions are going to be on the way soon. But looking at that Fulham team, if they don't finish top 2, then there'll probably be problems. I think they got Marco Silva as well, who is an experienced manager. He managed in the Premier League, he managed Hull in the Premier League, he managed Watford, Everton, and now he's managing Fulham in the Championship. I mean, that's a top appointment. They got top owner Shad Khan, who is a owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. Fulham, they've done ridiculous business, and I can actually see them winning the league, to be honest with you. Looking at the squad they got, I think they kind of look unstoppable, but who knows? You never know. More things will probably happen in the transfer window. More players could potentially depart, but it's a Championship. Who knows who'll win the league? But for me, Fulham will definitely win the league. I think I actually see them walking the league this season based on the squad they've got and the signings that they have made. So there we have it, guys. My Championship table predictions. So let me know what you think. Some of you may agree, some of you may disagree, obviously. But that's how I think the Championship table will end. Obviously, based on squad depth, based on managerial style. This is how I refer to teams really on where they finish. So yeah, not long now. I'm looking forward to the new season to start. I mean, West Brom versus Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth, West Brom the other way around. That's going to kick off the season. What a game this will be to watch. And if you want to see more content, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and yeah, peace.